Today we are reading chapter 27 of Paola Santiago and the River of Tears by Taylor K. Mejia. Chapter 27 starts on page 292. The title of chapter 27 is There's No Halfway When You Have to Fight a Villain. Noe, if you haven't read chapter 26, you should do that before we move on to 27.
I did. I just forgot.
Okay.
I placed my thing.
Okay, cool. So let's keep going. Chapter 27, starting on page 292. There's no halfway when you have to fight a villain. We have to get out of here, Pao said, getting to her feet. Sure, Ondina wasn't exactly alive, but Pao had seen her in the cactus field in the full light of day. They'd find a way. They had to. But Ondina didn't move. Ondina, she's dangerous. How can you possibly believe anything she says? We have to go. You can come with me. The not-quite ghost girl sat eerily still, but when her gaze turned on Pao, it was obvious. Pao's pushing and prodding had backfired. Ondina's confession had only made her extra determined. Less human, not more. There's no way out, Ondina replied as she stood up. Her voice was calm, all traces of her hiccuping sobs gone. Not for you, anyway. We've been looking for you for such a long time, Paola. What do you mean? Pao asked, backing away slightly. Why me? You said it yourself earlier. The green glow in Ondina's eyes was manic as she surveyed Pao. We're relentless, you and I. Mother and I needed a match. Someone whose energy would be at home in my resurrected body. Pao continued to walk backward, even though she knew there was no exit door, no window, no secret escape hatch. Ondina was wavering between the almost human girl Pao had only seen glimpses of and the dead-eyed heir to the glass palace. The boy was immortal and timeless, clever, too. But he was too much a part of that wretched campfire brigade. His heart wasn't his own. Franco? Pao asked. You took Franco? Where is he now? And the girl was smart, cunning. She had style, but she was too naive. She hadn't seen enough of the world. Emma? Pao choked out, her heart sinking. What did you do with her? With Franco? Where are they? The other boy was never a match, but he charged in here looking for you. And Mother knew, we knew, we could use him. That you'd do anything to save him. Even walk right into the last place you should have. Dante. They had taken Dante to lure her in, and it had worked. Pao would have laughed if fear weren't choking her. She had accused him of being the dumb hero, but look who had stormed the haunted palace looking for the dude in distress in the end. But you, Ondina approached Pao like she was a dress in a shop window. I visited you. You had something the others didn't. Pao watched Ondina, transfixed by the longing in her eyes. Hundreds of years waiting, gathering right there on the surface. You weren't just smart and cunning and a little rebellious. You were wicked. There was something in you that you tried to repress, a secret rage smoldering away. That was the final ingredient. Is she following along? And now, at last, Pao understood. All this was her fault. Her anger was the perfect breeding ground for this supernatural bacteria. She was going to use me to bring you back to life, Pao said, her voice hollow. It's an amazing technique, Ondina confirmed. Although she was always a gifted healer, even in life, for centuries she has been draining the life force from people, hoping that the combination of their souls and the void's power would enable her to bring her children back. Ondina shook her head like it was a silly thing to believe. She's given me a physical form, allowed me to retain my mind and my memories, made me stronger than any other phantasma. That's for sure, Pao muttered, rubbing the bruises their fight had left on her arms. But I'm still tied to this place until we find the right soul to make me fully human again, Ondina continued. And I'm the lucky winner, Pao said, trying to remain deadpan, despite the terror freezing her throat and chest. Ondina's eyes flickered between those of a human and those of a monster. She didn't reply. Because you feel like you've earned it. The right to take someone's life. The right to take all these people's lives. Pao was getting mad now. The kind of mad that made her want to cry. You want to walk free knowing that someone's daughter had to die, someone's friend, so you could flounce around showing off your hair? Ondina looked at her, humanity winning out for a moment. It's not personal, You're just doing what mommy tells you to, Pao cut in. Have you even asked yourself if you want it? The other girl's eyes went dark, and Pao knew she'd hit a nerve. Doesn't matter what I want. But if it did, Pao said, and a ray of sunlight burst into the cold night of her fear, and a path through the darkness. She'd been so focused on the ways she was like Ondina, but if that were true, didn't it mean Ondina was like her too? That there was something brave and righteous in her, like the feeling that was burning in Pao's chest. If it mattered, Pao began, ready to roll the dice. What would you want? To be free, Ondina answered without hesitation. Then she looked startled, like she hadn't meant to say that. Pao held her gaze, vindicated. And you think you'll be free once she does it? That you can just go and live your life? Do you want an eternity of facing her disappointment, Ondina? Because it doesn't seem to be making you very happy now. Stop it, Ondina said, trying to hitch her unfeeling persona back into place. But there were gaps in it. Pao knew, and she went for them relentlessly. You deserve to be free, Pao said, keeping her voice soft. This time she was the one walking forward while Ondina backed up. You deserve to know you were good, because you were. I can see it. And all the people who will die if you do this. The niños, Dante, Emma, Franco, me? We don't deserve it, Ondina, just like you didn't. It was my fault, Ondina said, looking away from Pao. Deserved to be punished. I deserved to be punished. It was my fault she did it. I started to cry and... That's not true, Pao said. And she thought of everything she'd forgiven herself for as the rift closed in on her. All the times she distanced herself from her mom, rejected her, betrayed her beliefs. Your mom is supposed to love you no matter what. Her heart was in her throat now. She's not supposed to hurt you. It's not your fault. Ondina's mouth was open, but no sound came out. Tears, black this time, coursed down her ghostly face. Stop it, she sniffled. It's too late. There's no way out. We can find one, Pao said, her own eyes watering. Together, I'll help you. Why would you want to help me? Because I want to do what's right, Pao said, and I think you do too. She was close enough now to reach out and take Ondina's hand, and she extended hers, waiting as the ghostly girl battled internally with something Pao could tell was much older than this moment, something she'd buried that was now being dragged up. I can't, Ondina said, taking a tentative step back. I don't have a choice. There's always a choice, Pao said, catching her eyes again and holding them. I'm going to try, with or without you, but I think we both know I don't have a chance on my own. You don't, she said. The hint of a smirk, even under her sniffling, made Pao bolder. But together we could do this. We could save them. We could get you freedom, Ondina. I can help you. Will you help me? The battle raged, the human girl still inside Ondina at odds with the monster the void wanted her to become. Pao left her hand extended, waiting, willing her to cross the boundary, believing she could because here was Pao, despite her anger, wanting to do what was right. Ondina folded her arms. Even if we wanted to, it's not like we could just waltz out of here. So we take it one step at a time, Pao said. What's first? Ondina hesitated. I could make a door, she said, but it won't go straight to her. There's only one way to get through if you're not escorted, and it's not a picnic. And everything we've done so far has been such a picnic. Shut up. I'm trying to tell you I'll make the door, but I'm not going through it with you. You'll be on your own after that. She'll know you helped me. There's no halfway when you fight a villain. Haven't you ever read a book? Do you want the door or not? Will you meet me on the other side? If you can get to the other side, Ondina muttered, a wrinkle between her eyebrows. This is what I can do for now, she said at last, decisively. Don't count on me being there. You'll be there, Pao said, smiling at her. And thank you in advance. Ugh, this would be so much less distasteful if you were literally anyone else. You know that saying, you only dislike about others what you dislike about yourself or whatever. Stop. It's especially true in this case. Okay, now I'm just making the door to get rid of you. I hope whatever is in there eats you. You don't know what's in there? Pao asked, alarm bells ringing in her head. Do I look like the kind of person who goes the long way? Undina replied, her nose in the air. Stupid princess. Stupid hero complex? Pao smiled. There was that word again, hero. She didn't hate it as much as she used to. My friends, Pao said, they're still alive? Undina nodded. They're needed for the ritual. They'll be with her. The smile was gone as quickly as it had come. What if I can't? I don't have time to babysit you right now, Paola. Do you want to try and save them or not? Pao gritted her teeth. I take it back. I dislike you, and it has nothing to do with you disliking. It has nothing to do with disliking myself. Undina didn't answer, just rolled her eyes once more for gold measure before laying both hands on the wall and closing her lids. For a moment, nothing happened, and Pao's stomach twisted with fear. But of what, exactly? That it wouldn't work? Or that Undina had betrayed her and this performance of hers was just a distraction? Pao was about to say something when, at last, there was movement. It was almost too subtle to notice at first. A section of glass, warping and swirling until it looked like a face. And then, beside it, another visage formed, and another, until there were more faces than blank wall. They were grotesque, their features becoming more animated the longer. Undina pressed her hands against the glass, their many eyes forming and opening wide, their mouths gaping in terror. Pao shuddered and took a step back, but it was too late to abandon the plan now. Beneath Undina's hands, one of the mouths yawned wider than the others, wide enough to walk through. But this time, even Bruto looked afraid. Come on, boy, Pao said, but he whined and sat down. Bruto, come on. He won't go, Undina said quietly. He was made here. He knows it's not safe. He'll come, Pao said suddenly. She wasn't so sure. He's a monster, Paola, said Undina, looking at him sadly. You can't trust them. She was saying more than that, Pao knew. She was saying Pao couldn't trust her either. And she was right, but Pao didn't have any other choice. The way ahead was as dark as the rift had been, and Pao glanced at Bruto once more, then at Undina, verifying that it was time. Take care of him for me, Pao said, and she stepped into the darkness without waiting for a response. And that is the end of chapter 27. Ooh.